Hello everybody, and we're about to continue our Let's Play series of NieR Replicant. Let's see where adventure is going to be taking us next. I think in our last episode, we rescued the prince, made our way through the temple, and we upgraded our weapon at the junk heap. And now we have to make our way back to town to talk to Popola. And I think we're getting closer to a new area, because we mentioned the Forest of Myth in our dreams. Overran that a little bit. And there we go. Okay, there we go. Inventory is still full. Let's see what Popola has to say. I assume she knows where the Forest of Myth might be.
What's up, Popola?
Oh, hi. I just got a strange letter in the mail.
Hope this letter finds you well. I am writing in hopes of bringing to your attention a certain dream issue of concern regarding recent events in a dream, the village. I was hoping I might be able to get your advice on the matter. Recently there have been dream reports, dream of a certain dream, evil, empty, cursed, evil, someone, dream. Definitely something about dreams.
That is certainly one bizarre piece of writing.
Who's it from?
The mayor of a small village in the Forest of Myth.
The Forest of Myth?
They're usually a bright and cheerful group of people. Something like this is very out of character for them. I have a bad feeling about this.
I'll check it out.
You will?
Don't worry about it. I've got business there anyway.
Oh, well, all right. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let's do a quick save. Okay, now which way are we going? Toward the Forest of Myth. This direction. Okay, broken saw. Okay, so the Forest of Myth is in this direction. So Kaine's a little preoccupied. Hopefully we can find some Venices as well. Oh boy.
I have to save Yonah!
Calm down. You cannot prevail if you are blinded with rage.
Oh boy. Okay, we need to get a little heal going on here. Okay, awesome.
It sure is quiet here.
Such silence bodes ill. There's trouble on the way. I'm certain of it.
It's kind of pretty though.
You know, a little optimism now and then wouldn't hurt, Weiss.
Such cheek.
Kind of enchanting, actually.
What do you mean?
Contagious words. Those who dream.
Those who dream?
Hold a moment. There is a strange new sensation in my mind. It is not quizzical.
What's going on?
The villager's body shuddered as he slowly opened his
Perhaps
eyes.
we should start by asking this man.
Who are you?
We heard something happened to this village, so we came to see if we could help.
The mayor stared at Rogue and Weiss.
If you can speak to me, I must have caught you in my dream.
In your dream?
In the past weeks, a mysterious disease called the Death Dream had spread across the forest of myth. Those who caught it were cursed to fall asleep and live forever within the world of their own dreams. The village mayor had determined the Death Dream was spread from person to person by spoken words, but before he could learn more, the disease took him as well. Weiss stared at the mayor, his mouth twitching.
Now see here. Are you saying that we have been absorbed into your dream?
Well, yes. I think you have.
In other words, we've caught the Death Dream?
Before the mayor could confirm Rogue's suspicion, Weiss exploded with rage.
Ridiculous. Preposterous. Completely unfathomable on every conceivable level. I don't even recall falling asleep.
That's just how the Death Dream works.
Though polite, the mayor was clearly trying to brush aside the book's remarks.
My remarks are not to be brushed aside, fool.
The mayor twisted his mouth into an embarrassed grimace, and quickly changed the subject to who Rogue had seen and what they had discussed since coming to the village.
Something there must have caused you to enter my dream. A certain conversation, a specific word, something.
Rogue and Weiss racked their brains but could find no easy solutions. There were simply too many words to consider, too much random chatter, too many meaningless conversations.
Grimoire Weiss does not engage in meaningless conversations.
The mere suggestion that Weiss chose his words carelessly seemed to sting his pride.
It does not seem to sting my pride, you bloated gasbag of a narrator.
That is funny.
It has demolished it utterly.
Irritated, Weiss looked skyward as if searching for answers in the heavens.
I was doing no such thing. Just leave me alone already.
The anger created by his harsh words bled over to Rogue like a contagion. Wait, said Rogue suddenly. Did someone just say contagion? Yes, I believe so. What of it? Well, the villager told us to watch out for contagious words, right? The mayor leaned forward and renewed interest, pushing a startled Weiss aside in the process. He must have said something, right? Asked the mayor. Some specific combination of words? What was it? It was about dreaming, or something that dreams, or what the hell was it? A sheep, cried Weiss suddenly, blurting out the first thing that popped into his head. The others stared at him for a moment before slowly shaking their heads. After a few more minutes of thought, Rogue's face suddenly lit up. I remember, he said. Those who dream. That's what he said, I'm sure of it. At this, the mayor produced a thick sheaf of papers from his pocket. He flipped through them a few times before finally nodding his approval. That sounds right, he said, as a stray sheet of paper fluttered to the ground. My notes also mentioned something about that. I bet it was the last thing you heard before you fell asleep. The mayor shook his head, his worn pencil stub tracing lines across a lone piece of paper. For the last month, I've done nothing but study the disease we call the Death Dream. I mean, I'm the mayor. It's my job to protect people from whatever comes along. But I never expected a couple of outsiders to start entering people's dreams. The mayor paused, a grimace crossing his face. I should probably be taking notes. Weiss immediately fired back. I applaud the force of will it takes to research a disease in your dreams, he said. But perhaps we should bend your efforts to escaping this place instead of trying to understand it. The mayor's hand tightened around his pencil, snapping off the tip. I've tried to escape. From the very first moment I realized I was locked inside my own dream. I've been looking for a way out. I mean, this is my dream. If there were an exit, I would know about it. He paused for a moment, his unfocused eyes staring at nothing. My village was beautiful, and it was filled with the most wonderful people you could ever hope to meet. But once the disease took hold, things changed. It's like someone took a sponge and soaked all the color out of our lives. I just want us to be whole again, to be free. and I won't stop trying. Wait a second, I did not. That's funny. If we can be of any help, said Rogue, just ask. Now hold on, I did not just say that. Silence, cried Weiss. The Grimoire looked from Rogue to the mayor and back again, his face filling with confidence. Grimoire Weiss's face is always confident, thank you very much. Now see here, Mayor, you told us that nothing can exist in this dream without your knowing of it. But yet you seemed surprised to see us when we first arrived. The mayor slowly raised his head, realization dawning on his face. Oh my god, he said, you're right. I had no idea you were coming. The human imagination is a limitless engine, and dreams are the fuel. If you can imagine an exit, then it must be so. With your permission, we shall search it out. Payment is not required. We are as eager as you to be done. The mayor suddenly felt as if he could breathe again. He'd almost forgotten what it was like. Good luck, you two, he called. As Rogue slowly faded into the misty forest, the mayor was struck by a sense of déjà vu. I saw this man once before, he thought, but where? Rogue's mood darkened as he trudged through the forest. Hours earlier, when the beauty of the place was still a new thing, he'd been confident they could get in, find the exit, and be home. But the deeper they went, the more the forest closed in around him. The mist made it difficult to see more than a foot any direction, and moss-covered rocks seemed determined to twist his ankle. More than once he'd been forced to steady himself on the rough bark of a tree. His hands now left small trails of blood on everything he touched. Additionally, Weiss was proving to be a spectacularly poor traveling companion. Unhindered by either terrain or physical effort, he spent most of his time urging Rogue to pick up the pace. Finally, after Weiss muttered something about legless turtles being more adept in navigating the environment, Rogue snapped. Okay, Weiss, cram it for a second, would you? You don't have to walk. Rogue leaned against a tree and tried to stretch the knots from his back. How can this stupid forest be so big? The moment the words tumbled from his mouth, a cacophony of insects sprang to life. Every imaginable form of buzz, click, and hiss roared out a volume that rattled his teeth. Rogue slapped his hands over his ears and screamed. Rogue could see Weiss's mouth moving, but he might as well have been shouting at a tornado. The insects screamed, the forest howled, and then just as Rogue's ears seemed ready to tear from his head and go running forever, the sound diminished. Hesitantly, he removed the hand from his left ear and listened to the creatures of the woods. As the insect symphony dimmed another decibel, Rogue began to detect patterns in the sound. This isn't random, he thought. It's not just white noise. The insects weren't just calling out, they were asking a question. One with it is lacking. 2 with it is ideal. 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? By my pages, is this a riddle? It feels sort of forced, but maybe it's the key to getting out of this place. Then I leave it to you to answer. 1 with it is lacking. 2 with it is ideal. 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? It's kind of funny, it could be a seesaw. In relief, furious that Weiss left the task to him, Rogue sighed and gave the only answer that made sense. It's a secret, right? The sound of the insect stopped as suddenly as it began. The forest undergrowth parted before Rogue like a rippling wave, opening a new path. These forest arthropods are making a road for us. Pleased at passing the test, Rogue moved on with new intensity. The path offered his body relief from the undergrowth, but gave greater cheer to his mind. As long as they were on a path, the journey had purpose. I guess the forest has accepted us. Weiss spun around to face his companion. Do not mistake the will of this forest for some happy pet. We have no idea where this path leads. As Weiss finished speaking, the pair turned a corner and found themselves facing a clear forest spring. Smiling, Rogue picked up a small rock and sent it skipping. His surprise was understandable. Each time the rock struck the surface of the water, a musical note rang out. When the rock finally stopped moving and sank to the bottom of the spring, the ripples it left behind came together to form words. I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I? Absurdly easy, barked Weiss. Now answer it. I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. That sounds like sunlight. A plume of water suddenly burst from the spring. Sunlight filtered through the trees and reflected off the plume, creating a shimmering rainbow. In all my ears, said Weiss softly, I have never seen such a sight. Perhaps I have misunderstood the intentions of this place. Hey look, cried Rogue, awakening Weiss from his daze. There's a house or something over there. Glancing in the direction of his friend's extended hand, Weiss saw a small cottage. That's weird, isn't it, Weiss? I mean, who would build a house all the way out here? Rogue walked over and pounded on the door. After a minute of solid banging, the door cracked open and a small man peered out. His body was cloaked from neck to toe in a large black cape, while his face was obscured by mist. Before he could get any further, the cloaked man held a hand up and began speaking. I have 4 legs in the morning, and 2 at noon, but end the night with 3. What am I? Rogue tried to ask the cloaked man who he was and what he was doing there, but he simply repeated the question. If we wish to engage this man in conversation, said Weiss, it seems to answer his riddle. I have 4 legs in the morning, and 2 at noon, but end the night with 3. Interesting. Four legs in the morning, 2 at noon, but end the night with 3. You're the mayor, cried Rogue. The small man slowly shook his head. I am not the mayor, you know. Now listen to my words. Long ago I saw a version of you that was not yourself. It will make sense in time. At present, I simply congratulate you on cracking the seal of the death dream, and you must go to the person at the forest entrance. With that, the man turned on his heel and slammed the door behind him. As Rogue watched, mist seeped up from the ground and enveloped the cottage. When Rogue and Weiss returned to the forest entrance, they found the mayor leaning against a tree. As soon as he caught sight of the duo, he sprang to his feet and scrambled over to them. Good gravy, he cried. You made it. You actually made it back. His left hand grasped Rogue's and pumped it so fiercely it threatened to dislodge from the socket, while his right seized Weiss by the cover and swung him through the air. By the heavens, stop shaking me, fool. We have not even told you if we were successful. The mayor smiled broadly and shook his head. I'm just happy you're alive. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. Rogue withdrew himself from the mayor's eager handshake with a slight smile. We broke the death dream seal. At least I think we did. The mayor's face beamed as Rogue filled him in on the details. When the tale was done, the 3 of them laid down on the forest ground and fell asleep. Rogue cocked his head. This is crazy. Why would we just lay down and go to sleep? Cease your endless prattle and go to sleep. Fighting against the rules of this place is futility. Rogue and the mayor obediently reclined atop the grassy earth. Have you forgotten, continued Weiss? It is words that control the death dream, words that allow us to move from place to place. No matter how unnatural they seem, the words are absolute. Therefore, if the words tell us to sleep, then sleep we shall. And once we do, the story will continue. With that, the trio found their eyes growing heavy, their breath slowing. This is the first time, began the mayor, the first time I have felt tired since I was imprisoned. His words were cut off by a loud, long yawn, and he remembered nothing more. They might have slept for an hour or a year, When they awoke, things had a slightly more real quality to them. The mist felt thicker, the leaves greener. It was clear that they had awakened from their dream. Rogue shook the mayor's shoulder gently. "Good news," he said. "I think we made it." "Wow," said the mayor in an awed voice. "We did. I'm back." He blinked once and then again, as if not quite believing the sight before him. "You two have no idea how much this means. The death dream was spreading through our village, and I wanted to. Well, I thought I could figure out how to stop it, but I guess that wasn't the case. I must have caught the disease and become trapped in my own dream." The mayor started to stand, then collapsed back to the earth. He stared at his legs as if trying to remember how they worked. Without a word, the young man reached down and pulled the mayor to his feet. "Real life may take some getting used to," said the mayor. "You shall relearn in short order. For now, you should return to your home." "No," said the mayor. "No, I can't. Some of the villagers are still trapped in the death dream. I have to save them." The mayor slowly made his way to the divine tree in the center of the village, then bowed his head and prayed silently. "This is a holy tree. It's the guardian of our village's history. Superstition will only make our mission harder," muttered Weiss. "We should not put our faith in the gods." The mayor shook his head. "Not the gods, the words. Legend says that our tree is home to a powerful magic known as a sealed verse." Rogue and Weiss could not contain their surprise. It seemed a goal had been found in the most unexpected of places. "I say," muttered Weiss, "this is certainly a stroke of luck." As the three of them said their goodbyes, Rogue mentioned the strange man who had given them the third riddle and the mysterious words he had left them with. "I once saw a version of you that was not yourself," muttered the mayor. "What in the world does that mean?" Lost in thought, he stared into space. "You know," he said, "this is going to sound odd, but I had a feeling I'd seen you before." Rogue tried to keep a straight face and failed, but the mayor didn't seem to notice. "Deja vu, right? Anyway, I figure it's just some kind of illusion created by the death dream." Rogue gave the mayor a nod and a smile, but inwardly his thoughts were racing. There's something wrong about the mayor and his words, and what exactly is going on here. That riddle would prove to be the most difficult one of all.
Oh, thank you so much. Now I can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Obtained a sealed verse. Dark execution. Summoned magical spikes from the ground to impale enemies. Interesting.
For a sealed verse, that didn't take much effort.
Yes, all a touch too easy if you ask me.
Well, it was a lot of reading.
It's almost as if someone was guiding us to this village.
Don't overthink advice.
Okay, let's see here. There we go.
Now I can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre...
I know.
Okay, we have that part right there. So we can explore a little bit. Okay, where was our safe again? Over here, I think. There we go. Maybe we can find a deer or something. Tree branch.
And another victim. This work certainly is trying.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Weiss.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and Rogue had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Weiss?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage.
Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Rogue nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed through the rocky surface. The heat reflecting from the road made Rogue lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke? The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. The road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure. Perhaps not. Thinking of it in this way might make it easier. Rogue glanced at Weiss's grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, Rogue's feet grew more painful. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant. We're definitely getting closer. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Rogue lifted his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open. Water, he cried. It's water. Water? Asked Weiss. Preposterous, I don't see any water. Over there, just ahead of us. Without waiting for a response, Rogue sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. There was no water. There was nothing but sand. Rogue closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Rogue shook his head bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance. Wait, there it is. I just missed it, look. Rogue sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Rogue came to a halt. Could have sworn it was right here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue, shimmering pool of clear water. With a shout, he bounded. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Rogue and struck him in the face. Enough, you blithering idiot. Or blithering idiot. Stop this at once. There is no water. There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me. Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived at the city of art. Rogue looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. They're huge, cried Rogue, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. I've never seen anything so big. Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky. But that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires, while others possessed triangular caps. What kind of city is this? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully crafted works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Rogue and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Rogue uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, Beta, and then Gamma. As Rogue moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, emitted a brief, beautiful song. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. Hey, look at that, said Rogue, they're alive. The triplets bowed low before Rogue. Please, said Alpha, you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real. Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Rogue and threw his hands in the air. Alpha's a fake. You know I'm the real one. What a load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is fake. Everyone knows I'm the only one around here. Only real one around here. The restrictive pleas given, the three statues returned to their frozen state as silence enveloped the city. When you consider all the statements, only one of them could be real, said Weiss. Rogue furrowed his eyebrows. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. The real one is Alpha. The real one is Beta. The real one is Gamma. I guess it wasn't Alpha.
It would seem we failed.
Yeah.
We'd best act more
Yeah, let's try again.
and another.
I guess we don't have to read the whole thing this time.
Even I.
What?
Hap
It's definitely an interesting episode. Was not expecting this type of mission. Oh, I guess it's Beta. Try one more time.
we'd bet. And even.
What?
Perhaps there.
If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss in dry tones, Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar, therefore that theory crumbles. Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth, that makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with two statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies wouldn't make sense, therefore Beta must be real. Interesting.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too.
I thought I was a goner there. Thanks for the help. What a strange dream. It almost felt familiar somehow. What a strange dream.
I don't think we even got anything for that. Interesting. Let's do one quick check of the forest. Looks like we have one more person.
this person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining.
Yeah.
I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath a stairway in the long, unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is forgotten. I pray for death. Time passes, and eternity slips in by a single tick. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there, I hear an unfamiliar voice. My savior. I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh, I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. And possibly I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy and floating book. Who are you, I ask. I'm Grimoire Weiss, this is Rogue. Okay, we shall awaken from this nightmare together. Okay, we're trying to escape this castle. A maze of catacombs. The host of the feast is a corpse, as all are the invited guests. An army of the foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains. Oh, we picked the wrong way. Interesting. Not sure what just happened there. Very interesting. Well, that mission led us to almost die. Should probably wrap this one up anyway. Okay, defense capsule. About 50 minutes in here, so in our next one, looks like we'll be heading back to the village. Probably talk to Popola. Definitely an odd, interesting place, though. The Forest of Myth. Kinda cool in its own way. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll be talking again real soon.